Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's Thursday night football time. It is me, Joey P. Joe P's up here with me, of course, is Scott Bogman, and it's you. And we're talking Thursday night football, the props, the game. That's right. It's time to bet on TNF on Amazon Prime. Hopefully, it'll go better this year than it did for Al Michaels and company last year. Not the best set of games on Thursday night last year. I think we could all agree on that. But this one, they gave them a really good look here. We're excited to see, can the Minnesota Vikings rebound from an awful, terrible, horrible, no good loss at home to the freaking Buccaneers. But I'm not bitter about that. I'm clearly fine. I've got no feelings about that at all. And then there's the Eagles coming off a big win on the road in Foxborough. Scott Bogman, this is a pretty good game here to kick off our Thursday night real in season, not the big one that we have on, Kansas City. We always know that first one's going to be good, but this one here shapes up to be one that could be fun.
This is a great game, but I hold to this. We should not be doing Thursday night football games this early in the season. Thursday night football games should only come for teams coming off of bye weeks, because otherwise you get sloppy, unprepared football. You have injured guys not playing, which we have a ton of in this game. So I don't like the early Thursday night football games. I also don't like the late Thursday night football games, bye weeks, so these players can rest and we can get good football, because it's going to be sloppy.
There you go.
Sloppy.
I know you like them sloppy, Bogman.
That's right. I do.
Oh, my gosh. All right. So, Bogman, let's talk about this, because Brian Flores is obviously a guy who plays a lot of man coverage. Jalen Hurts last year, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league against man coverage. They have A.J. Brown going against a secondary that is questionable. This seems like a bad situation here, possibly. Now, in full disclosure, I bet the Vikings at 7 before it moved, and we'll talk about what that line is now. But still, this could have some fireworks in it with those elements here being added into the fire.
I think so for sure. I mean, Gainwell being down means Philly is going to pass a ton, and like you said, Minnesota's secondary is trash. So I just don't think this is a very good matchup this week. I'm all over the Eagles in this game.
Yeah, I can understand why. And we're going to break down the lines for you also as well here. Before we do it, we're giving away something else. Can you imagine? We're giving away a Tyreek Hill jersey on Fantasy Pros, but we got another one for you on Betting Pros, right? All right, everybody, it's that time again here at Betting Pros. Time to give away some free stuff. And this time, we're giving away a James Cook autographed jersey. That's right. This jersey can be yours. And all you have to do is subscribe to our Betting Pros YouTube channel. That sounds pretty easy. Oh, wait, and drop a comment below. That sounds easy too. So subscribe, drop a comment below, and you just might win this autographed jersey thanks to us here at Betting Pros. And don't forget to click that little bell till it goes ding so you know if you're the big winner. There you have it, everybody. That James Cook jersey is not going to give away itself, and we want to give it to you. All right, everybody, time to go back to the action. Okay, let's take a look at the game right now and the line. We've got, as of right now, the total sitting at 49 over on DK, on the over, on the under 48.5 over on FanDuel. So pretty close there, obviously. 6 is where this number is right now on DraftKings. So +6 side over on Minnesota. You can get -6.5 on the Eagles. If you like Minnesota to win outright on the money line, which I do not, it's +220. I would not advise this. So Bogman, so far, I'm 0-2 on these shows. You're 2-0. So let's hear from you. I still think that the Minnesota Vikings can cover this number in garbage time. I just feel like they can, because when do the Vikings not play close games? But the score might be close. I don't think the game's going to be, if that makes sense. But what's your take, since you've been hotter than I have so far in these standalones?
I like Philly in this game. I just think that it's really, to me, it's the mismatch between the Philly defensive line, even without Fletcher Cox, versus the Minnesota offensive line, because Minnesota is missing 2 starters, it looks like, for this game. And I think they are going to be overwhelmed. It's what Tampa Bay did to them, overwhelmed them with pressure up the middle last week. Yeah, when you move Kirk Cousins off his spot, he doesn't like to roll. He likes to sit in that pocket. Now, like I said, even with Fletcher Cox, you're going to have, top 10 pick Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Man Mountain, chasing down Kirk Cousins. It is not going to be a fun night for him. So give me Philly in this game. I don't like the total. I would stay away from it, but like I said, I don't, and I'm being called the Grinch in the comments here because I don't like Thursday night football. And it's not that I don't like, I love that we have NFL games on Thursday. They are fun, but I'm telling you, watch the quality of this football versus the football on Sunday, and you will see what I'm talking about. I love the fact that we have competition and we have a game to watch on Thursday. I just wish it was better football. It's bad football. Coming off too short. I love you too, Richard. Don't even worry about it. No worries. But look, the total I don't like
You're
in this
not
game.
wrong. I mean, the quality of football,
It's
especially
bad.
for the road teams, typically are bad in these games. Now, I think in some ways, Boggs, like this is the best thing that could happen to the Vikings. That short week where they don't have a long time to linger on how they just handed that game away to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think in some ways that's a good thing. Like this
Maybe
actually
if
came
they're
in a
playing
good
a
time for
miserable
them.
team like the
That's the
Giants or
caveat.
my Steelers, this is the worst matchup they could
No,
have
this is
had,
the
Joey.
worst. Right. It's the best set of
I'm taking
circumstances
the
with the
under.
worst team.
Give
Yeah,
me the under in this total because like I
yeah, you're
said,
probably right.
you're going to see missed passes early. You're going to see runs where a guy takes the wrong lane. You're going to see bad football early, which leads to less scoring early, more scoring late. So I think this line is going to be pretty close. I like Philly. I don't like the total.
What does this Eagles running back situation look like to you? With Gainwell out for this game, it's interesting that they put Rashad Penny on the healthy scratch list.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they knew this was coming. Like they were like, "Look, we got a Thursday night game. Maybe we're going to try to throw the ball a little bit more to Gainwell, but we know that Kenneth Gainwell is not going to hold up to a full workload." And guess what? Oh wait, he didn't. And I know some people are making the Boston Scott jokes about him falling in the end zone. Maybe Swift will get more carry, but I think Penny's kind of interesting here because he's the guy that they have kind of said, okay, let's make sure that we have Rashad Penny for this game against the Vikings, where we may have a lead and we might have to hand the ball off. Does that feel like? I guess it's hard to say whose backfield it is, but if you had to
Yeah.
pick one running back in this game, do you think whose backfield it is? Who is it tonight?
I mean, for me, it's going to be Swift because he was active last week and Penny was not. And it may be just be like, hey, we're not used to seeing Penny this deep into the season, right? Week 2 usually gets hurt week 1 for the whole year. So maybe that was part of it. And, like Sirianni said earlier this week, it's going to be a different guy. Some weeks it's going to be Swift. Some weeks it's going to be Gainwell. Some weeks it's going to be Penny. It is a gross mess is what it is in this backfield. So I don't want to tell you I know who it's going to be, but if I had to pick somebody for this game, it would be Swift because he was active last week and Penny wasn't. I think that says enough.
I'll tell you what, I can't wait to watch all the DeAndre Swift managers on tilt. If Penny goes out there and has 65 yards and a touchdown in this game, and DeAndre Swift has 2 targets and 30 yards rushing or something like that, they're going to lose their minds, and I'm here for it. We want you to also be here for this, which is the NFL contest we've got going on. Again, I want you to join this. Click the community tab over on the Betting Pros app or go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest. Join because we're giving away a Jackson Smith and Jigba signed jersey. We're giving away monthly prizes in merch, upgrades as well to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros. We're giving away weekly prizes too. All the gift cards we're giving away to our store, our shop. So we want you to get involved in this. Again, bettingpros.com/NFL contest, or just click the community tab and join that way. That's the best thing to do as we go through here. And let's continue on here to the next section here, which is the props, which is what we all like to go through and talk about. So Bogman, as always, comes ready with the props. Boggs, let's start what you have for the people here on Thursday Night Football.
Well, how about the first one? You've already talked about a bad matchup for the secondary for Minnesota. Jalen Hurts very good against man coverage, and the total of 21.5 completions is the number. Juice is, it's minus 120, so they think that Jalen Hurts is probably going to get to this one. I like this one a lot, especially with a banged up running game with Gainwell being down. I think you're going to be encouraged to pass a little bit more. And I think Hurts is going to sit back and pick these guys apart, which is not really, we know Hurts can do it, but it's not what he's known for. He's more known as a runner that makes the big plays. So, but I think he can just sit back and pick them apart. And I think over 21.5 is pretty nice bet this week.
I could not agree more. I love this one. This is where I would start as well. And it's where I'm going to. I like this one too. The next one here, you've got a Madison number here. Let's talk about 12.5 rush attempts. And again, everybody, if you're looking for help with the props, that's what the prop bet cheat sheet's for. So you click on that. You could sort it by the different games. You could see all the best different props that are out there, the best house to bet them. And of course, the Fantasy Pros projections right next to them. So you see just by how much. Could be a yard, could be 5 yards. So 5 doesn't sound like a lot, but it is on some of these. So use the prop bet cheat sheet. That's what we're trying to, do here and instill in everybody, that you're doing your due diligence and getting the best bet you possibly can. But Madison, let's talk about him, Boggs.
Yeah, look, I think that you have to run more if you're the Vikings and what you put up last
Yeah.
week. You have to involve Alexander Madison a little bit more. So I think knowing what happened last week and how they lost, and knowing that, look, if you keep this Philly defense on the field and wear them out, that is where you can take advantage of them in the third and fourth quarter. Like I said, I don't think it's going to work. I think Philly is going to outwork Minnesota in this game and kind of beat them to a pulp here. But I think if you're Minnesota to start, you got to involve the run game more because you just put yourself in predictable downs and you don't want to pass the ball 50 times against the Eagles because a defensive line will eat this O-line alive. You got to run the
Hmm.
ball. You got to at least make an attempt. You got to bring those linebackers up a little bit to hit those deep shots over the middle. So I think 12 and a half rush attempts for Madison. I think he should hit that fairly early.
I think Jalen Carter is going to hit Kirk Cousins fairly early. That's what I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. I've already bet him, by the way, for defensive player of the year for rookies. Like that was the bet on the board for me. Will Anderson was at the top of it, which I understand why he was selected first, but I want the guy in the higher profile team. I think Carter is going to be that dude.
Jack Campbell gets some snaps
Yeah,
from Dan Campbell. I think it should
there you
be him. He
go.
looked great in the second
He
half.
did.
So
Hey man, I like Jack Campbell. I liked him in
he's
the we
so
talked
good.
about in the draft. I already started soliciting for us to all go to the combine next year. I want to go to
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
I want to go to the combine. I want to do all the interviews. That way we have them for the draft. That way we have them for July and August. We can repurpose and replay them. That's what I'm pushing for. So Boggs, you want to come? You want to get your
I'm
ticket?
down. Let's
All
go.
right, combine. You, me, Thor, and Debro. That's it. We're
Mm,
all going to grow our
that's
beards
it.
out. It's going to be fabulous. I got to catch up to you guys right now. All right, let's get to the next one here. So you got Madison, you got Hertz. Who's next?
My next one here, and I like a lot of these, but Zach Cunningham over 5.5 tackles. We normally don't go defensive stat early. I'll tell you why after this one, but we had Nakobe Dean go down. We know Zach Cunningham is going to play about 100% of the snaps. He was an 88% guy last week. And, I think Minnesota's main strategy here should be to throw the ball over the middle to TJ Hawkinson. So, I think with that, I think we're going to have a lot of receptions for Hawkinson. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think with that comes a lot of Zach Cunningham tackles. If you're going to run Madison as well, a lot of Zach Cunningham tackles. I think Cunningham gets way more than 5.5. So I love this number.
I'm glad you mentioned Hawkinson because that's how you attack the Philly defenses over the middle. That linebacker core is weak. I have Hawkinson ranked as my number one tight end this week on Fantasy Pros for a reason,
Oh,
not just
wow.
because all the other tight ends are hurt, which
Yeah.
helps. I mean, that does help in the ranking, but at the
Sure.
same time, I'm looking at this and say, this is the Hawkinson game. This is the Hawkinson smash. This is what he should be doing here. If you're going to stand a chance, get the ball out quickly. Don't let that defensive line eat you for breakfast and try to expose the linebacker core, which I know the Eagles have been trying to, figure out. And it's a work in progress. But so far, I mean, if you look back at the tape from last year too, Slay really gave Jefferson a lot of problems. So what are you going to do here? Like it could be KJ Osborne, but I'm going to put my money on Hawkinson. That's where I'm putting my money. And also for everybody, if you're putting your money on things, don't forget to use the line alerts that are going on. You could set in the BP app certain line alerts for certain game notifications. So if you see a game that you want to jump on at a certain point, set the notifications for it. That way you get notified and then you can go ahead and make the best bet. You can also track all your bets too. Don't forget, use that sync and track so you could follow how you're doing. And you could also follow all of us on BettingPros when you join the contest, which is great too. But also you could follow some of the people who are hot right now in the NFL market and just bet what they're betting. Sounds easy to me. Sounds like a good time. All right, Boggs, let's go to the next one. What do you have, Lex, on the prop list here for Thursday Night Football?
I'm going to combine these last two because the juice is bad on these. It's minus 160 on both. So what I'm thinking, Joe, is combine them because I
Okay.
think they're both numbers that we can hit, and let's get a better number to return our money. Obviously, parlays are a little more risky because, it's always so frustrating when you get one side by 1,000,000 miles and you miss the other side by half an inch. You miss the whole bet. That sucks. I
Well, that was
understand.
Hawkinson last week. We didn't get the yardage total on
Yep.
Sunday, but we got all the he got eight catches or whatever he had. I can't remember what he had. He had a
It
lot.
was so many,
There was
right?
so many, and I just kind of think, why? How did this not translate? I don't understand what happened here. It's very frustrating.
Which is why instead of yards, let's take receptions. Let's take over
Yes.
4.5 receptions. The juice is minus 160 for TJ Hawkinson. And my other one, look, I think the Eagles win this one in a rout. Do I think they score 3 touchdowns? Yes. So over 2.5 point after touchdown attempts or point after touchdowns made by Jake Elliott. We'll occasionally, and I'm sure because I'm live on the air saying that he should make two, he'll miss one out of nowhere tonight, which will make me never forgive him ever. But the juice on that is minus 160 as well. I think these are two pretty easy bets. I'd say the Hawkinson side is harder than the Jake Elliott side, if you're asking me. I think Philly definitely scores 3 touchdowns here, but I could see it being like 4 touchdowns. Like I could easily see this game being 28-13, you know what I mean? And being well under our total here, just because the first quarter, second quarter was sloppy because of, short rest and all that stuff. So, and I promised myself I wasn't going to forget it, because most of the time, the second Thursday night football game, I'm all juiced up. I just watched a bunch of football. I'm excited about it. And I forget how bad this Thursday night football game usually is. Hopefully it's great. I want it to be an instant classic and look like Jets, Jets and Bills on Monday Night Football without injuries, of course. I want it to look like how that game ended, but usually Thursday night football doesn't go like that.
No, typically it doesn't. I like, you were very excited there. It was like with Chris Farley and Tommy Boy. He was like, look at me, you get all excited. It's like,
I want to bet the over on everything.
I want to bet the over on everything. Yeah, that was very Chris Farley of you on that one. All right, one thing here I want to touch on before we go. DeAndre Swift, 2.5 receptions. This is an over right now on the prop bet cheat sheet. It's the best number on the board you can get to in terms of the projection, the differential, plus money, plus 120 over at DraftKings. What do you think of this one? That's 2.5 receptions. He can get to 3.
Yes, and I really like that number, but my golden rule I'm going to follow it here, which is why I didn't put this on the sheet for us. Don't bet on Eagles running backs, because you don't know who it's going to be. Right. If it is Swift, I suspect it will be. And look, they don't throw to the running backs a lot, but why do you bring in Swift? You bring him in to do that. It was a great point that the Welsh made earlier this offseason. I think he's correct about that. I don't mean to think it's going to mean they turn into Tom Brady, throwing it to Leonard Fournette 850 times a game or whatever Tom Brady was doing at the end of last year. But I do think you draw up plays, you make plays for a guy that you go out and trade for. And I think he should have 3 catches here.
There you go, everybody. So use the BettingPros app. Make sure you go and place all your bets. Start betting smarter, not harder. Join our NFL contest while you're at it, too, so you can win some free stuff. And if you like this and you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our channel. We just had a new show we recorded today about the favorite bets for the week. My top 10 video is out as well on the channel. Tomorrow, we got our favorite props. Myself, Andrew Erickson, and the host of The Morning After, Ben Stevens on Sports Grid, is going to join us for that show. That's going to be fantastic. Erickson crushed the props last week. He is now the prop prophet. We've given him a nickname. Scott Bogman, I'm Joey Futures. We got to get you a nickname. You can't do a betting show unless you have a nickname, so we got to work on that. We'll take possible people's suggestions on the field out there if you want to throw them out there. But
yeah, you can separate. I don't want to look at them. You can separate them and just bring me the good ones.
Yes, that's like when Butters had to do that for Cartman recently, where Cartman only wanted to see the positive things said about him on social media. I don't know if you saw that one, but it was so funny.
Oh, of course I did. Yeah,
that was very funny. And poor Butters trying to sort.
Yeah, he was just in a dark depression because he was going through all those comments. Like, the comments are so dark. You guys.
I'll do my best Butters imitation for you. And look, everybody, subscribe to the channel, comment below, because you just might win that James Cook jersey we're giving away as well. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Scott Bogman, I'm Joey P. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, everybody. Fly, Eagles, fly, perhaps.